Hello everybody, this is bugmancx. Welcome back to Minecraft The Journey. This is episode 52, and wow, I was just shocked and amazed at how much stuff we have missed in the early recordings of this series when we started well over a year ago. And I'm so happy that I've put this 3-part epic saga of stuff together for you all, because I learned so much putting this together. I learned so much about what I had missed. I discovered new bugs, new quirks, new bits and pieces, new factual information, and I really hope that you have enjoyed watching these 3 episodes as much as I have loved putting them together. I tell you what, they take a lot more work to put together than your average episode, so I hope you appreciate all the hard work. I'm sure that you do. Look at this farm. What's going on? Crazy animals everywhere. Also, I was just thinking, while I was looking at that mountain behind me, we really should give it a name, right? It looks a bit like Mount Whoops. Sorry, cow. It looks a bit like Mount Crane, because it's a crane shape, or maybe Mount Hook, Mount Fishing Hook. I don't know. Give me some suggestions. We'll give it a name. But for now, we're just going to continue on and revisit those early versions of Minecraft, cover off all of the stuff we've missed, and then after this episode, we should get back to our regularly scheduled programming. So thanks again, let's do the credits and jump right into it. Oh, it makes me so sad whenever I come back out to World Spawn and see the great spawn fire, but you know, that's all part of the game, isn't it? These are the things that happen. I still think it's funny that all the fire stays lit on those logs. Very, very weird. But we need to get on with part 3. So first we're going to go back and have a look at a little feature of Indev that I overlooked completely to do with flat worlds, and then focus mostly on INFDEV with a couple of other bits mixed in between. So I hope you enjoy, and thanks for being here for the 3rd and final part. In Indev, I'm going to make one of these worlds a flat, deep, small paradise world. And once I do that, I should be able to run out to basically the world border. Now this is a really, really small world, as you can see, and I have used the flat terrain, which means that I'm able to leave the world and go off on my merry way. But once I'm out here, I'm not able to break any blocks. I can only build and place blocks inside of effectively the world border here. Now if I do run out into the distance like this, what I didn't realize when I had looked at this previously is that there's actually a pushback. Let's have a look at this. As you can see, I'm being slowly pushed back towards the edge of the world. It's just something I didn't experience when I tested this world format for the first time. I've just walked out backwards here for quite a while, and as you can hear, the time between the footsteps is slowly decreasing, so I assume that my speed is also slowing. Oh yeah, I'm going ridiculously slow. So I'm keen to see what happens if I let go. I'm not touching the keyboard or anything like that, but this is basically the effect of the world border system pushing me back to the center of the world. And as we get closer and closer, it gets slower and slower. From Indev and all the way past Alpha, it was not possible to stack your food items, raw or cooked, unless it was wheat. Notch had decided to implement it this way to make it a bit more challenging for players to regain their health. During Indev, it was possible to stack cooked pork in a furnace. You could remove it and carry it around with you this way, and even eat from the stack, saving yourself precious inventory space. Here's a strange one for you. In INFDEV 2010-0320, a quirky bug was introduced known as the dancing tree, and you'll see why. This is a bug that causes trees and flowers to jump and move within a certain chunk, and it's not known what triggers it. I spent hours trying to encounter this myself without any success, but thanks to some footage provided by Method, I'm able to show you what this looks like. What is going on here? As you can see from this clip, the trees and the flowers are going wild. Flowers and trees are moving locations and changing shapes very rapidly. It looks like they're doing this once for every game tick or so. Any leaves that appear outside of the affected chunks from a tree will stay behind, but anything within the affected chunk gets reset every time. When Minecraft initially generates terrain, it uses the 3D Perlin noise generator to generate all of the shape of the terrain, then it applies things in a particular order. It goes something like, first the blocks on the surface get changed to things like sand and grass, then caves get applied, then ores, and then after that, trees and flowers. So it looks like the final step of adding the trees and flowers onto this chunk seems to be broken weirdly, and the game is stuck in some kind of endless loop. It does sometimes settle down and stop, but then it might restart again. Who really knows what's going on? I was just messing about here in INFDEV 2010-0321 when I went into the options to enable the FPS counter, and then I got this. This is apparently a bug that was introduced in this version because Notch had added duplicate login detection. But apparently at random periods in the game you get the session conflict screen and then you're just stuck. You can't do anything. I've just created a new world in Minecraft INFDEV 2010-0327 and I've encountered the most bizarre thing. All of the chunks are all over the place. Look at this huge chunk wall that I have here, and I'm down to 1.5 hearts because I fell off of a cliff. There are lighting glitches here wherever there's a tree up the top, and in fact if you place something down here, the lighting glitch will clear. Let me try and get to some... Look, everything's weird. Let me try and get to some alternative ground so that we can have a closer look at what's going on here. Look, that just does not look right to me. Does it look right to you? I mean, let's go over to this cliff. I'm keen to see what's on the other side, and I don't want to die or take any more damage because I'm already down to 1.5. But if I pop up onto the edge of this cliff, I'm suspecting that it'll just be a sheer edge. I can't shift, but wow, yeah, you can see that. Actually, let's just go. That is one mighty big wall. What could have caused this? All of this tall cliff generation like this is all expected in these versions of the game. They all had a lot of world generation like that. But the sheer cliffs like this one ahead of us, that is definitely wrong. This stinks of where two world generations collide with an old chunk and a new chunk. Up here is basically world spawn. Look how strange it looks. That tree is one that I chopped down myself. But look at this one. It's just been cut off completely. Oh, oops. Yeah, this is just so strange. I've just generated another brand new world, and look, it's doing exactly the same thing. There are very clear chunk delineations here. This is definitely a chunk, and obviously these big tall ones are other chunks. And so this is what I think is happening. So I've been going into the change world, and I just deleted this world. Delete world. World 2 will be lost forever. Gone. Oh, that's funny, because I'm still in it. What's happened? Let me just check the file system. Okay, so the World 2 directory is completely gone, which means that there's no world directory for Minecraft to write to anymore. So I'm heading off deeper into this world now to see what happens without a world safe folder to write to. Minecraft seems to be generating... yeah, it seems to be generating a world, but have a look at it. It's definitely a cross-section of two worlds combined into one, or at least two types of terrain generation interspliced together. I'm really keen to go over and see those two arches. Look at that, it's just a slice of stone with two archways in it, which are probably a couple of caves. Look over here and everywhere. It's just a chunk mess everywhere. And meanwhile, Minecraft has created a new World 2 directory, and it is starting to write chunk files and the level.dat file again. So it's almost as if nothing happened, and I'll tell you what I now think is happening. What I think is happening is that when you choose to delete the world using the delete world feature or the delete world button in Minecraft, it is actually deleting the world from the disk, but it is leaving some of the chunks in memory, or at least some of the information about the chunks in memory. And so when you go off and generate new chunks, it's based on a different seed. And in this world, the seed is contained in the level.dat file. So if it's intersecting with a chunk that's either in memory or already on disk, then it's going to be generated based on the seed of whatever happened at that time. But this is even weird because it's only a slice. So I'm not even 100% sure if that's happening. But I can tell you that this is the most messed up Minecraft chunk generation that I've ever seen. I'm here in INFDEV 2010-0330. You may remember this as the quirky version where when you fire an arrow, it generates mobs. And the reason I'm in this version is because I'm just exploring the world. Look at this behind me. Look at this humongous mountain. And what I really think is special about this is that it looks like the ore generation in these versions doesn't have a height limit. So look at that. There's diamonds all the way up there at whatever that would be, something like over a level Y100, I'm pretty sure. But I just stumbled across this mountain and I thought that it looked really, really cool. Something like this you just never see in modern versions of Minecraft. I didn't play this version for too long when I was exploring these versions originally, because around this time a lot of these versions were very crashy and unstable. But as we saw from this version, one thing you can do is you can create mobs by firing arrows just like that. But look what happens when you make a skeleton, just as I did here. If the skeleton fires arrows at you, it will also generate mobs. So you can just end up in utter chaos. You're better off being hit by the arrows. Whoa! Here we are in a brand new world. I've literally just clicked the button. We are in INFDEV 2010-0625-2. Did you know, a little piece of INFDEV trivia, when you spawn in a new world, you will always start on a sand block. I didn't know that, but it apparently is true. Every single world that I've created, I always start on a sand block. Now in this version, mob spawners were introduced. Mob cages were they called? Monster spawners? I don't know, something like that. But we tried to gather some of these up when we first encountered these when playing in our other world, but for some reason I couldn't pick them up, and I don't remember why. I might have to go back and check my footage and try and figure it out, but this is definitely the version where they were introduced and you're supposed to be able to gather them. So because it's survival, I'm going to have to gather up a whole bunch of resources now, and then I'm going to go off exploring and trying to find a dungeon. Well, it's been about half an hour of scrounging around in caves, but I have found this baby here. This is a zombie spawner. I'm tempted to see what's in here. Oh, a couple of saddles. I could have done with those. And yeah, some extra iron. Who knows? I might need that for no reason, because all we've come here to do is to see what happens when we try and break the spawner. I'm pretty sure I tried it in this version. Let's see what happens. I have made a world save. Oh, wow, you get the spawner. You get the spawner. That's so cool. Let's get up to the surface. It's just coming up to daytime and I'm keeping an eye on my friends up there. They look like they're ready to come down and say hello. Okay, they're on fire. That means we're in the safe zone. I'm down here in this nice little laid out area. I've been just waiting for the night to pass and I want to have a look at this thing. So do I have F5 in this mode? Only the back version, so you can't see what I'm holding. But you can see it in my hand here, and yeah, it looks pretty cool. Looks very blue. Let's have a look at it on the floor. I like it. I like it very much. I regret not doing this properly in the proper Let's Play series. I regret not being able to play with these in this way. But I did say there is a way to obtain these during Minecraft Beta, and I'm looking forward to that because I'm just annoyed that I missed out on it. Okay, let's put it down. And as predicted, it turns into a pig spawner and it spawns pigs even in the daylight. Oh, I love that. I love that. I think that the pig is just the default mob that comes out of a spawner, and there's no way to change it, unfortunately, unless, you know, like in future versions, you can put a mob egg on there and it will change it to that particular mob. But in this version, I guess you could harvest them and then build pig farms. You could get 4 of these in the same space and then create a farm where the pigs will all fall down to their deaths and drop their delicious pork chops everywhere. We could have built that in our world. Maybe we will when we get access to these things again. But, hey, excuse me. He was intrigued by what this spinning pig is doing. But for now, I mean, this was a great opportunity to check out the mob spawner. I'm really pleased that I came back and saw this. Back when we were playing in INFDEV, I mentioned that due to an interesting glitch with world generation, it was possible for a generation glitch to occur and create something called a monolith. I'm in Alpha 1.1.2, the last version that monoliths can generate before this bug was fixed. In a video from Imported Socks, there's a link to his video from 2016 with a world download below. He managed to find one of these quite randomly one day, which is just an incredible find. There's even an earlier video from a user called Crafting Lord 21, but no world download was provided with that, so we really can't be sure what happened there. But if I just spin around and take a look, that's it. A huge monolith right at world spawn. These were known about for years, but it was incredibly rare for players to find them. So why does this thing generate? Well, Minecraft uses something called a Perlin noise generator to generate the terrain map, and this helps it randomize values, resulting in the terrain generation we see today. In some rare cases, if the randomization equals 0, then it'll result in a divide by 0 error, and it will cause these things to happen. So what's inside and what's on the top? Well, to check it out properly, why don't we upgrade this world to a more modern version of Minecraft since the terrain has already generated, and then we can fly around and check it out properly. I'm in 1.13 with an alpha texture pack, and here is the monolith in all of its glory. Look how huge this is. It's kind of squarish shape, but it's not an entire square like that, you see? Indicating that this is actual terrain generation and not necessarily just a chunk error. And if you reset this world and delete all of the chunks, this will regenerate anyway. So it is actually part of Minecraft's world generation. So look at the top, it's extremely flat, and all of the surrounding area around here is also very, very flat. And this is a characteristic of the monolith. But let's have a look inside, shall we? The whole thing is hollow. Why do I see it like this? I thought I was, no, I'm inside of rock. As you can see, it's like the whole world has lifted up. So if I go down here, mind the dolphins, I am in 1.13. You can see that it's almost like all of the rock here should be down at the bottom of the world here, and it's just pushed all the way up to the world height, and that is pretty much what has happened. So I think that is pretty incredible. Look at that. What an amazing, amazing piece of terrain generation. Let's go back inside. I'm going to go down to the bottom now because this is full of water. I guess this is because this is Y level 62 or whatever it is that water generates at. But going down, you'll also see down at the bottom of the world, it goes all the way down to bedrock. These are all just pieces of gravel that I think have fallen out of the ceiling. And this is the bedrock floor. So this is pretty incredible. And look here. These are holes in the bedrock, and in fact, this is just part of Minecraft Alpha, that you would find all of these holes in the bedrock floor. It's really weird. And look, this is definitely inside the monolith because these are all full of water. But this wouldn't have been just an incredible thing to find, and imagine building your base out of one of these because they're just so rare and humongous and brilliant. Can you imagine just navigating your world and then suddenly you see off in the distance, as the fog clears, you can see this humongous monolith right out in front of you. Well, what an amazing way to finish with the incredible Minecraft monolith. And as you know, in this series, I try to be as thorough as I can, but I also try and keep entertaining. So I hope that you enjoyed the history lesson because it does feel like I do two kinds of videos when I'm putting this series together. One is entertainment and the other one is informative. I think it's a good balance, but I know that over the last 3 episodes now, that was a lot of information to digest. It was certainly a lot of information to put together, but I really hope that you all enjoyed it, and I hope you found something in that you didn't know before, because I certainly found a lot of stuff that I didn't know about. As of next episode, we'll be back to normal. I've got to figure out what we're doing here in our Minecraft Alpha world because we're so close to Minecraft Beta now that we will probably be upgrading in the next episode or 2. I am sure of it, and I think you are all going to look forward to that because I've not seen or done anything with Minecraft Beta before. It's all brand new territory to me. And if you're new to the channel, then of course, please feel free to subscribe, like the video, and comment and say hello. Give me whatever feedback you like. There's a link to Discord in the description below as well. If you want to come and hang out with a bunch of people and me, we just chat about stuff, and hang out and have a good time. But until then, let's wrap up. This has been bugmancx. You've been watching Minecraft The Journey. Bye-bye.